Welcome back. The time is 6:46. Happy Monday, everyone. If there's such a thing, I'm sure we're happy to not see any snow falling from the sky like we did yesterday, but looks like there's plenty of fog to go around. Let's go ahead and jump right into the day's news. A last-minute deal has been struck between the United States and Canada. Our neighbor to the north will continue to be a part of the NAFTA trade agreement, except now it has a new name. CBS News correspondent Laura Podesta explains.
Shortly before midnight, after weeks of high-stakes negotiations, representatives from the United States and Canada declared they had reached an agreement. The 24-year-old North American Free Trade Agreement will go on under new conditions and a new name. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA.
We can't have these countries taking advantage of the United States anymore. It's very simple.
Last month, Canada was left out of a new deal the U.S. struck with Mexico. President Trump said in a scathing tweet, there is no political necessity to keep Canada in the new NAFTA deal. If we don't make a fair deal for the U.S. after decades of abuse, Canada will be out. The agreement struck last night gives U.S. farmers more access to the Canadian dairy market, but offers Canada protection if President Trump goes ahead with plans to impose tariffs on cars imported into the U.S. After making this simple statement,
it's a good day for Canada.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said he would have more to say about the agreement later today. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Also making headlines this morning, the Supreme Court starts its fall term today with only 8 of its 9 seats filled. The FBI has reopened its investigation into Brett Kavanaugh, whose confirmation vote has been delayed after multiple sexual misconduct allegations. The Senate is still moving forward. It begins debate on Kavanaugh's nomination this afternoon. Rescue efforts are ongoing in Indonesia after a massive earthquake and tsunami hit on Friday. Hundreds of people are dead, and the total is rising as areas cut off by the damage are reached. Frightened survivors are spending their night outside as aftershocks continue to be felt in the area. And the search for an Ohio woman who went missing in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park continues today. Trained personnel from Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia have responded to assist park staff in a large-scale search effort for the missing 53-year-old in steep, rugged terrain. Susan Clements was hiking with her daughter along the North Carolina-Tennessee border on Tuesday when the two separated. In the upcoming general election, Montana voters will weigh in on 2 state Supreme Court justices seeking another term. MTM's Jonathan Imbarian spoke with both justices running for re-election.
For the first time since 2006, there will be no contested races for the state Supreme Court on Montana's general election ballot. Instead, voters will have a yes or no vote on whether 2 incumbent justices should retain their seats. Justice Beth Baker was first elected to the court in 2010. She says she's proud of the work she's done on making the legal system more equitable.
To be more proactive, to make sure our justice system works for all Montanans. And that's the piece that I am passionate about and have worked a lot on these last few years and want to continue in that area.
Baker has chaired the Supreme Court's Access to Justice Commission, which seeks to expand opportunities for low and moderate income Montanans to get legal help.
And we still have a lot of work to do in that area. I think that in my position on the Supreme Court, I'm in a place where I can help continue to make our system more efficient, make our courts work better for all the parties who come before it.
The newest member of the court is Justice Ingrid Gustafson. Gustafson was a longtime district judge in Billings before being appointed to replace retiring Justice Mike Wheat.
I had an idea when I came to this position that my experience at the district court level would be helpful, and I don't think I recognized just how helpful. Been exposed to the types of cases that we've had at the trench level, and so I have a good understanding what's going on there.
Gustafson has worked extensively on projects like sentencing reform and drug courts to help rehabilitate offenders. She wants to keep focusing on those issues in the coming years.
We're working hard to make changes to our criminal justice system to improve its overall fairness improve offender rehabilitation.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
And in case you missed it over the weekend, the three candidates in Montana's U.S. House race, Republican Congressman Greg Gianforte, Democratic challenger Kathleen Williams, and Libertarian Eleanor Swanson squared off live on MTN station Saturday night in their first debate of the campaign season. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison was in the studio in Helena taking part in the debate and files this report.
As expected, Congressman Gianforte spent plenty of time talking about his allegiance to President Trump and how the policies of the president and Republicans in Congress have led to a strong economy.
We have delivered results for Montana. You see it in the economy. We have more jobs than we have people looking for work. Wages are going up. Unemployment's down. This is all good news. This election truly is a question between results, working with President Trump, as I'll do, or resistance and working with Nancy Pelosi and going back to the failed policies of the Obama era.
Williams did her best to counter this argument and specifically took after the Republican tax cut bill.
The tax giveaway is benefiting the wealthy. 83% of the benefit goes to the top 1%.
The debate also featured Libertarian Eleanor Swanson. When asked by voters to consider the party, despite the fact that its candidates rarely win anything in Montana, Swanson said the party is getting more vibrant in Montana and elsewhere.
We have almost 200 elected representatives around the country. Montana has the most libertarians per capita of any state. This year we have 23 people running. We have an immense just upsurge of support and excitement for the Libertarian Party.
Gianforte also accused Williams of supporting sanctuary cities and said Democrat support for Medicare for all will bankrupt the country. Williams, however, said the sanctuary city charge is false and that Gianforte has no real health care plan while she does.
All Montanans need to have the opportunity for affordable, accessible health care. And I have a fairly detailed plan on how we can get to that, including allowing people 55 and older to buy into Medicare. Congressman Gianforte expressed support for the Graham-Cassidy bill that would have prohibited the protection for pre-existing conditions. It would have raised costs on our seniors, and it would have knocked thousands of Montanans off their medical care.
But Gianforte's message, loud and clear, is that he not only stands with the president, but has his ear, too, on issues such as tariffs that may be hurting Montana ag.
I've had a chance to talk to the president twice face-to-face on this, and my encouragement was to him was to bring these trade negotiations to a close. I've said all along I don't favor broad-based tariffs.
I don't think we saw any knockout blows delivered here in Saturday night's debate by either side. But we did see a very polished and disciplined incumbent, Greg Gianforte, who's probably still the odds-on favorite to win this race. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
And also on Saturday night, Montana PBS hosted a Senate debate between incumbent Democratic Senator Jon Tester and Republican challenger Matt Rosendale. Many topics were discussed, and at some points, a very heated debate between the two. A very interesting exchange took place when the candidates talked about dark money being brought into Montana, especially during election season when campaign ads are in full swing.
Increase the transparency so we have maximum transparency on the dark money that's coming into this group, into these elections. Why? Because we need to know who's trying to influence our elections. It's really important. It's one of the reasons that I am endorsed by a group called End Citizens United. They want Citizens United. Well, let's go back to the way it was before Citizens United. So we have limits. So corporations aren't people.
And Citizens United group is another one of those groups that has hidden contributors, and yet they're running ads about fighting against so-called dark money. It is the height of hypocrisy. I think that what we need to focus on is make sure that we get instantaneous notification on the contributions that the candidates are receiving.
PBS.org. MTN will host our own U.S. Senate debate this Saturday, October 6th. Here in Billings, the 111-year-old historic Babcock Theater is undergoing a change for the better. Renovations are now underway to get the theater ready to show major blockbuster films. The city of Billings owns the historic theater, and in January of this year, the nonprofit group Art House Cinema and Pub was chosen to manage the facility. The 750-seat theater will begin showing films 7 days a week as early as mid-November, but not before this Billings Jewel gets a little TLC. Volunteers are needed to clean the Babcock and get it ready for opening night. If you would like to volunteer or help with renovations, you can head over to the Babcock Theater every Saturday in October from 9 a.m. to noon.